Check out how we made this piece of wood look like exotic stone using epoxy. We take you behind the scenes and show you how we teach our hands-on training class to turn surfaces into stone. These are advanced techniques that can be simplified, layering color and following easy steps. Thinking outside the box and pushing the limits on your project can result in beautiful effects. Your desired design can be achieved using Stone Coat Countertop Epoxy and these advanced techniques. Learn right now with our hands-on training class. Stay tuned and enjoy the videos. Remember, when you subscribe to our channel, click on the red subscribe button and be sure to ring the bell so you get notified every time we have a new video. Thanks again. We love Woodcraft. We got invited to go from Oregon all the way to Connecticut to teach at one of the largest woodworking schools in the country, located in the Manchester Woodcraft. We were excited to meet Drew, the owner of this particular Woodcraft. He stocks our Stone Coat Countertop Epoxy. We got a tour, and then we got down to business. The woodworking school's wood shop was world class. I enjoyed getting a tour, meeting the instructors, seeing all of the equipment, and picking up tips and tricks along the way. The Woodcraft staff was outstanding, and we loved meeting all of the students that traveled from all over the country to learn hands-on how to apply epoxy. Let's get started.
You got this! When we pour, our typical size that we like to do at one time is 2 quarts, 3 ounces per square foot. And we have plenty of working time to do any outlandish color that's on our mind. We don't have to be in a hurry. We get to work that. Where people run into trouble is when they got a big U-shaped kitchen and they're trying to do the whole thing in one shot. Especially it's maybe their first time ever working with epoxy. I never pour that much at one time. I do the 2 quarts. I get it exactly how I want it, and then, but this is after I've made a little sample and I already know my recipe, so now you're moving through your project, and then we'll mix up another 2 quarts. Now we're pouring it and we overlap. We overlap into the project we just did a little bit. Even if we're doing long striated, you just overlap a little, and you will never know, because there's so much working time here, you'll never know that it was done at a different time. So that's the same thing with a group project. Is if this scaled out to 400 inches long, we could still do the same thing in steps. So that's just a little, that's your tool tip of the day. We're gonna first sand the edges, right? If you feel the edges on this, it's nice and rough. You guys want to probably get some gloves too, because we're gonna get messy. Okay, Carol's got a really cool picture on her phone of a wine cellar. Do you mind showing that? She asked me this morning about the stacked stone and what color she would do. So I'd like everybody's input. What do you guys think you would suggest to a client that said, I want to do something that would go with this, and what color should I do? Because this is how you would gain a job, right? Is that question at a show or wherever you're at? Burgundy, okay. Is there some burgundy in that, you think? Like something cool? Yes. So from what you guys learned yesterday, how hard would it be to incorporate those colors into a project? Pretty easy, right? And what would you want to use as a base? Probably something like that, right? Like the whole background has got that light gray. Can you leave that picture right here? And everybody just grab one color. Just grab one color out of there that we would use with this look.
Yeah, you need some metallic undertones on it of bronze.
Okay. All right, so I like what you guys are doing here. We had a good suggestion, is I would start subtle here. I would start subtle with this kind of a color, this kind of a color, and then I would start going to my loud colors. And the first thing that I would do is just subtle undertones will just fall. You guys broke my cardinal rule though.
No black and white.
Yeah, you know, black and no white. You gotta have black and white. So Another thing we talked about with Carol was what shape would you do? And something like this that's a unique project. It's not a kitchen. You got total license to do whatever it is you want to do, and they got an arch over that. So I would match that radius out front, you know. And a lot of times what I like to do, especially when I'm building cabinets, is to pop out. So I do like the furniture legs. I bring the top out, bring it back, and then radius. And now you got something that took you a little longer to build, but the value of that top, great investment of time. You know, you're gonna 5x your time because you made a cool shape. Plus now you got something to show on your portfolio that's super unique. All right, we're gonna spray. Let's spray these two as an undertone. You want to leave your phone there, or should we just fog it up?
Just fog it up.
Yeah, fog it up. We'll spray that, and let's do a little bit of white too. Got it. Yeah, let's shake these two up. And we don't need a lot because this is a good color. We just need a little. Smoke gray. And when I fog color, it's best to start away and work your way in so you don't get a big zebra stripe or a jail bar, right? You want some fog and keep that thing moving. Don't be nervous. Everything's a happy accident. Nice. See how he started? Give him a hand for starting on the edges. Yes.
And he tested the spray off the piece first.
Yes, he did. Nice. You could tell you've tagged a little bit, man.
You want some on top too?
Yeah. Let's stop there. I like that this got a little more than this side. You know, I like that. And then let's just do a little bit of black to give it some shadows. I like to use old spray cans sometimes for this because you get a little bit of spit, a little bit of drops on there that look right. You know, when you look into stone and you'll see speckles and stuff like that, that'll sometimes give that to you. Some of the most simple colors are our best sellers, you know, and they're easiest to do. Now, because that's linear, on the back, I would probably go striated to follow that linear theme, right? And I'd go linear this way, so when you look at it, it kind of goes up that. Do you guys agree? Or then maybe we could do like an organic shape through it over the linear to give it some depth and some real cool. But our backdrop will all be linear, and that would be something that I would probably show the client and say, I want to do this, but what do you think? And get that approval or do that sample first. But the problem with going wild on a small piece, as you saw yesterday, sometimes it just gets way too busy too fast, and they can't scale that in their mind of what that's going to look like on a bigger piece. So we'll start linear, we'll do spray paint, and I also want to then incorporate some of the granite effect where we'll fog it and fracture just parts of it, and then we'll start building that into real stone. You guys good with that? All right. Yeah, there you go. Begin with B. That's why we did it.
Definitely.
That's perfect.
What a catch.
You would have made it.
3 ounces per square foot, yeah.
That's of mix.
Yeah, part A and part B combined, yep.
What's the shelf life on this once they're open up?
Over a year.
Knobbies and stuff like that. You want to not let those hit the sides real hard to blow your bucket out. Now if your bucket blows out, have one of the same size right by it and just slip it in real quick into a new cover, and then it won't.
So we're gonna pour some of this out and leave some of it in here, and we'll do mostly clear, and then we'll incorporate a tinted section. And that sometimes looks really cool. You guys good with that? Again, it's just layers. The more layers that you do, the more visually interesting your piece gets, and it's typically more realistic. Do you want to pour this out? When you pour this out, probably don't need the whole thing yet. I'd pour down the center. Don't go, I'd stop here and here, or else it's just going to travel off the piece. And then when you trowel it out, we're going to push it from the center towards the outside without going over the edges. So when you scrape the bucket, and when you do that, scrape it right into like a big part of your epoxy. That way, if you put like the scrapings over here, that's your biggest probability to have a sticky spot because it's the most undermixed. So when you put it in the mass and you use the trowel, you start there and just kind of mix it up. You pull it, and I don't do U-turns, even with the paint sticks. When you're putting color in, I don't do figure eights and U-turns because that shows the mind it was made by somebody. I'll pull my trowel, and then I'll bring the material, and then I'll bring the material. I don't scoop the material because you're going to push it right off that edge. So who wants to trowel? All right, Ed. Give it up for Ed. Nobody gave it up except Mitch.
That's all right. So you got a lot right here.
Oh, okay. Pull it over here then. Because you're kind of dry this side. Yeah.
I'll be a chopper.
All right.
I'll give you the stir.
Chop buddies.
Choppity chop chop.
Chopping buddies.
See the dry spots? That's why, again, why we chop. And then you're pushing your reservoir over, which will do your edges. That's why we don't worry about the edges till after you chop, because it already gives you what you need.
I feel like we're laying down some beats here.
You are.
If you do the Stone Coat and then the girls do Countertop.
We're gonna make a little batch of white. Karen, do you want to pour a little white in there? Now, what I like to do with this a lot of times is just a plastic spoon and do that, but let's just do a little bit and I'll tell you, that's plenty right there. Somebody want to quickly torch this out?
Don't know this one.
There we go. We're gonna lay down the background and then we're gonna bring in a blob of white, okay? Spray your color off the piece and I'll bring it in and then I'll bring it back. I'm not gonna horseshoe. We're not gonna do that, okay? We're gonna bring it over and back and just do color like that. It's gonna build up right here. Instead of pushing that off, I pull it back. And it doesn't matter. You guys are gonna integrate your color. You're gonna push them all together and not worry about it. Just be free and loose with it. Another mistake that people make is they'll make arches when they're doing it. They'll do this, and it shows up as man-made. It's hard to hide that. It's really good to try to keep it parallel. And then if you want movement, we tilt the movement in, right? We'll wait on our accents. We'll wait on our loud ones. We'll wait on this one. This one will darken it quick, but we'll be a little bit more conservative with that one. And then we'll add these. I do like that we're adding this. That's like your burgundy idea, but we want to be very conservative. This will change the piece in a New York minute, right? It's gonna make it really loud if we go too crazy with it. So can we do this with the paint stick? You guys ready? Okay, you're up. And what we're going to do now is we're going to add some of these wild colors very conservatively. Start out slow and we'll look at it and evaluate it and see where we want to go with it. So let's use those and do that step now. So why don't you put the sticks down and push it in with your hands a little bit. That was a good call. I like the red, you know.
I think it wine.
Yeah, true, right? And you just don't want too much. All right, let's stop there. This is such a valuable tool to now make this look even more up-leveled and more real. So I'm gonna get it going. So it's on cold, I'm gonna go heat. And I'll get in here. See how it takes a second for it to move? So if I start here, it's not going to move until it warms it up. So you don't want to do it. Now it starts moving, so I'll push it. So I'm going to push this along. Now look at how that starts to look really, really interesting as opposed, and if I would have put squigglies in, it doesn't look as good, but that right there, and you don't have to do the whole thing, but when you start to do sections, it starts to look very realistic quickly. So if you guys want to start hitting that a little bit, leave some hard lines and mute some of it out with the heat. I'm going to hand that off to whoever wants it.
very nice.
You like it so far?
What are you saying, when you mix your diamond, the diamond dust, you want to do that in a clear?
It'll actually show up. The only one of our metallics that come through something that opaque is our gold and diamond dust. Do you guys like what the heat gun does to it? I move stuff a lot with the torch, but knowing that this is a valuable tool is important too. It really works good for certain effects. Oh, not there. I'm just kidding. I'm totally. I knew you were nervous. I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
I know.
Not really.
My poor mom, I probably took 10 years off her life scaring her. So far, looking good, guys. If you couldn't tilt this on a project, that's how you get that really cool striated look without, you see, we put those in straight, but they're no longer perfectly straight, right? But I really like the effects of tilting it just because you get things to stack on each other a little bit. So if you don't mind, I'll get a volunteer. Who's going to help me tilt this? All right, Karen, get on that side. It's going to go a little slower. It is warm from the heat gun, but we'll watch how slow. And this is always determining on how much it's heated up. Sometimes with the third person, you can just run a little heat across it, and that's going to immediately fall, but we don't want it to go too fast. What would you guys like to move first?
See this area over here?
Okay. So if you want this,
Is it the long way?
I like to go perpendicular to the grain. Doesn't mean that's the right way, that's just what I do. So let's move all this right here. We'll move that red a little bit too. Okay, you ready? See how that moves now? Okay, let's come back now. That's cool because okay, set it down. So what it did is it pushed color and the clear stays. We're seeing down to some of those undertones, but then it brings everything back over that clear a little bit where it gives it lots of depth right there. Let's move this area here. Are you good with that? All right. This one we're not going to tilt as long. Ready? Good, come back. Keep going, let it stack, and then we're gonna go back again. All right, go back. That's gonna look really cool because it grabbed that brown. Okay, stop. So I really like how it grabbed that brown. Maybe we'll soften that up. It looks a little too fake. I'm just gonna soften that just a hair. Boom, I like that. We're just spreading that red out so it's not as dominant. Now we're gonna do our next layer. So we got a bottom layer, now we got our base tint. When we apply this base tint, it's gonna be like toothpaste. It's gonna go, oh my gosh, you just destroyed it. But then we'll bring that into just another accent. We destroyed it, right? We destroyed it. Got some bronze.
That's the first time that's ever happened.
What other metallic do you guys want to do right there over that one? Oh, clay would look good.
Clay would be good too.
Yeah. Shake it before you bake it. Test it before you spray it. Nice. This is going to be fun. Come in here a little bit and just do some tappies. We'll frame the vein with black spray paint and just kind of follow that a little bit, and we'll frame it out. All right, where's the black spray paint at? See how this is looking pretty cool? How it starts to move around for you. You don't want to judge it right away, right? So I'm going to mist a little black and then just hit it with gold just to start to give this thing a little bit of interest. Trying to stay off of this as much as I can, but let's see. And then I think we won't do that whole thing. We're just going to do some of that. Oh, that's already looking cool. Maybe bring that right down through here. See what it starts to do. All right, somebody else want to finish up doing that on the rest of that thing? This is where you really start to have a good time. It really, really is fun. What do you guys think? A little more right here, just to kind of, because that's jumping out at me. Let's do a little bit more through there. And we probably need a little more gold to break that up. So, what would you do?
Touch it.
Tappy. Tappity tap. This is why I frame it. It makes it all make sense when you do that. It kind of ties everything together. That's why it's okay to overlap your color too. Nice. Yep. See, like these droplets? To make that kind of work, if you just go over it with heat, some of those dots now will start to work for you because you can make them look like chunks in there of actual rock. Anything that doesn't look right, you can touch it. Does that look fake to you? And then we can heat gun that a little bit more. Like this kind of looks fake. Let's just drag that. And then heat gun that a little bit more. This is a little concentrated. And then push it, balloon it out, like move it a little bit more. Let's look at it. Let's step back as a group. What do you guys want to change on it?
Oh, that's pretty cool. Maybe move it, tilt it.
You want to tilt it?
Just a little.
All right, let's try it. I'd kill it right there. So here's what I'd like to show you guys, what I really find valuable. These metallics are really translucent. Now I'm going to bring these all together, but let's say the customer says I want it a little lighter. I would use a much lighter metallic. If they want it a little darker, I'd use a darker metallic in the tones that they're looking for. So that's how you could kind of tie it all together. So I'm going to spray that and just see what happens, all right? See if we can't make it look even cooler. And I'm gonna just start slow, and I could always layer a little bit more, because whatever I do here will tone down the effects a little bit. See how it starts to tone it down a little bit? It toned it down for sure. I think, let me just work a paint stick through here. I'm totally nervous. I'm so scared right now.
You got this.
Okay, touch it. I like to erase things with my finger and then come back with heat to balloon them out a little bit.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Let's do that. I think that'll be a cool piece for your showroom, Jeff.
I didn't have faith in you about 20 minutes ago, but it's looking really good.
What's really cool about these two is how many hands you get involved, and it still looks cool.
Pro tip, don't forget equipment back at the room.